Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to trace the wiring diagram of your brain.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We're looking at how media evolved from, the crackle of early radio all the way to the latest AI, and how it didn't just change what we watch, it fundamentally changed how we think.
Exactly. Our mission today for you is to use humor and journalism almost as diagnostic tools. We're going to map out how the very tools we use to communicate have reshaped the architecture of the modern mind
And our whole idea of truth along with it.
and our idea of truth.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with what you call the acoustic era. Radio, in the beginning, demanded so much from the listener.
A huge cognitive demand. It created the theater of the mind, which, forced listeners to actively generate the visual reality themselves.
There's that great example, the Fibber McGee and Molly Closet gag.
Oh, it's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just a crash. It was a whole complex sequence of sound effects clattering, things tinkling, a delayed final thud.
Right.
And you, the listener, had to mentally construct this elaborate, chaotic scene, the buckets, the hats, everything tumbling down, just to get the joke. It was work.
A puzzle you had to solve in your head, and then television arrives.
And what happens?
Yeah.
That cognitive load just plummets. It provides the images ready-made.
So for the television generation, truth becomes anchored in what you can see.
Exactly. The evidence is right there on the screen. It's not about what's described to you anymore. It's about what's shown to you.
So if visual evidence is the new standard, who was the one speaking that truth? In early newsreels, it was this massive voice of God narration.
That's right. Think of someone like Westbrook Van Voorhees, this commanding kind of transatlantic accent.
A mix of American and British diction.
Right. And it was designed to sound like absolute objectivity, total competence, even when the content was, highly editorialized.
But then that unified authority starts to fracture. It hits a wall.
It really does. The pivot point was the Vietnam War.
The first living room war.
The first living room war, exactly. Because the unfiltered visual evidence created this undeniable credibility gap between what the government was saying and the devastating scenes being broadcast directly into people's homes.
And that gap creates the space for something new, for satire to become critical.
Yes, this is the environment that elevates it. It's not just jokes anymore.
Right. So shows like The Daily Show thrived because they didn't just criticize politics, they critiqued the performance of journalism itself.
They exposed truthiness.
That gut feeling of truth, yeah. And then you have The Onion, which used that very dry AP-style voice to report on completely surreal things.
And in doing that, they perfectly mirrored this absurdity of a world where facts themselves felt like they were up for grabs.
Which brings us to the digital age. This takes that fragmentation and just puts it on steroids.
Completely. We shift from communal consumption to this isolated, personalized narrowcasting. We're all now in the attention economy.
And from that, you get Generation Z's absurdist humor. I mean, things like Skibidi Toilet.
It's digital age daddyism, really. It's often a rejection of logic because the world feels so illogical. It's chaotic, rapid fire, no real setup or punchline.
And the platforms themselves, like TikTok, they foster that kind of hyperactivity. But maybe they impair our ability to sustain attention on any one thing.
Which leads us to the final frontier, AI humor.
This is fascinating. AI has always struggled with nuance, with what's called theory of mind.
Understanding what someone else knows or feels.
Exactly. But it can be taught. Researchers are using something called the Carlin method.
Observation, incongruity, search, and refinement. It's a multi-step reasoning process.
And here's the kicker. AI models using this can now generate jokes that, in blind tests, are statistically indistinguishable from human attempts.
Which, a little unsettling. It suggests that humor, creativity, things we hold up as uniquely human, might be far more algorithmic than we want to believe. It's just very, very sophisticated pattern recognition.
So to sum it all up, we've gone from a single voice of God and communal experience
To isolated consumption and fragmented narratives.
and now to algorithmically generated jokes. We built these tools, and now we can see them actively reshaping how our minds evolve.
So the medium isn't just the device anymore. It's the algorithm itself. And that leaves a final thought for you. As we stand here, right at the precipice of the AI era, when the evolution of our media becomes the evolution of our mind, can we still value the one thing the algorithm can't replicate? That messy, vulnerable human experience that actually gives a joke its soul.